think I love the number 5.
I have to speak up. I'm wearing a towel.
Mama, you're naked.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
You have until the count of 5.
Hello and welcome to the Got Till 5 podcast. My name is Max. His name is Jesse. It's a pleasure to have you here. And we're coming down from the dizzying heights of last time's episode. Last time's is a word. With Mr. Bill Stevenson. And now we're just back to reality of talking to each other.
Oh, there goes gravity. There was, it's happy 2-week anniversary of talking to my favourite drummer, musician and songwriter of all time. That was good times, but yeah, back to normal stuff. So if you're here because you love Descendants and Bill Stevenson, you subscribe to us, I can only apologise.
You are going to be bitterly disappointed. Mr. Crummy, good evening.
Hey, hi Cromwell, nice to see you join in.
Happy birthday, delayed birthday.
2 days ago it was, 23rd was his birthday, 30 plus 1.
Right up at his street as well. I feel like the three of us, the Pokemon thing, it's something we've always had as a triangle.
Yeah, Crommy, I played a lot of Pokemon with Crommy when I was a kid. There was a little sort of secret, we thought of it as a secret base just over the way from his house where you'd like get through some shrubbery. And it was weird actually, because you get through this shrubbery and go down a hill and there was this like area that had a sleeping bag in it and probably needles and stuff. But there was never anyone there when we were there. So we were like, yeah, this is a cool den, man. Not realising that some crackhead was probably living there. And we used to sit there with our Game Boy Colors and link up and trade. He had Pokemon Blue, I had Pokemon Red. It was good times.
Just reminds me of that Simpsons bit with Milhouse and Bart. And Milhouse goes, "This is where I come to cry."
Yeah, it was exactly that. We had that
this
lovely
is why I come to shoot up.
It was nice. And he traded me his Electrode, which remains the best Electrode I've ever had. Its speed stats were just insane. Its nickname was Zarka. And awesome. Crommy got that Electrode tattooed on the back of his leg, complete with, he got me to turn on my old Pokemon Red to get the ID number to give him, and that ID number is tattooed under it. How cool is that?
That is cool. That's something I would like to do, but my gold was my heart and soul. There's a little bit of a link there. Nice. But unfortunately, I had the issue where the battery went and it just wiped the save. So my original childhood team is dead.
Mine is still alive on my Red from like 1998 or whatever it would be, 97, which is bonkers, right? How is that still living? It's magic.
Bonkers.
Yeah.
It is magic. You're an old man. Very old man.
Yeah, original one, still going. Crazy.
So speaking of that, Pokemon is a very big thing in mine and Jesse's life. And there's that point where it was like super cool. And then you had to hide it for a while. And then you went, fuck it. I like Pokemon, and then you could share it again. But Pokemon has been in our lives since 8 years old.
Yeah. So it would have been Christmas. No, fucking hell. I don't know off the top of my head, really. But I guess I know it came out in 97 in Japan. So I guess it must have come out 98 here because there was that sort of delay because it took them ages to translate things back then. But do you remember a moment in childhood where you realised Pokemon was no longer cool? Because I do.
I don't know if there was a moment, but I remember people stopped bringing in their cards and that kind of thing, yeah.
Pokemon cards got banned from my primary school. That's how serious it got.
For what reason?
Because they were getting nicked, mate. People were like robbing each other's lockers and stuff.
Charizard, man. Good fucking Charizard.
Basically mugging each other for shit. So it was probably, I was annoyed at the time, but looking back, I think it was wise. Like, they saved a lot of bloodshed. A lot of 9-year-old bloodshed. But I remember when I was in year 6 or something, which is 10, 11 years old. And I was walking, Jack Waring, love him. I was walking through the playground with Jack Waring and we were chatting about Pokemon. And some kid from the year below, how gutted is that? Like from year 5, like a younger kid, overhears us and goes, "Oh, Pokemon's for benders. You don't still like Pokemon, do you?" And then Jack Waring, who isn't this sort of person, but for some reason that awoke something in him. He just went, "You weren't saying that, but it was popular, you chav," and started chasing after him. Like tried to hurt him. I'm not sure where that energy came. That's what Pokemon brings out in people, I suppose.
I don't think so. The passion is what we need in life, and That's what I held. I never got to have Pokemon Red and Blue as a kid. I had to like watch my friends play it. So I was so I had to relive through people. But I had the cartoons, and then my first was I got a Game Boy Color for my 13th birthday with Pokemon.
That's really late.
Pokemon Gold, yeah.
Why are you so unloved? Like, why did you get all this stuff so late?
I don't know. Like, consoles were never a big thing in my household. I just don't think my parents understood the appeal of consoles or what they kind of did. The first time I got a PlayStation 1 was from my uncle, and he was just like, "Oh, I don't need it anymore, so you can have it." Gave us all of these games like Resident Evil and all these like Mortal Kombat. Obviously, Mum not knowing anything about video games, she was like, "Oh, thank you very much." And there's me and Mark just like, "Finish him, rip his head off."
Amazing.
Like, this is awesome. But yeah, I did. So for the games, I came quite late, but boy, did I make up for it. Still playing to this day, boy.
Yeah, we both are with the ring away. I've been in Hitman mode for the last. It was my birthday last week. For anyone who's interested, thanks. And I got Hitman 3 for my birthday, and I'm a big fan of the Hitman games. And I've been playing it so much. When I actually had this with Pokemon as well before, when I played it a lot. Have you ever? This is going to sound weird if you haven't. Have you ever played a game so much that the game becomes your reality? Like, you're sort of walking around and you're just viewing the world like the game.
This would be fine in any other game, but like, we've been on the group chats together and you have literally just been like, I can see drain pipes and had to like swoop in and cauterize someone.
It is, yeah. Garrot, I believe the term is you were looking for. I'm just walking around and I can view, like, I'm clocking security cameras. I'm sort of seeing if someone's standing at a certain angle. I was like, oh, I could subdue him, and that person there wouldn't notice, and then I could just wear his clothes, and they just assume I was him.
Tesco just like rolling between aisles, hiding in bins,
wearing oversized security guard shirts, low security guard shirts with the sleeve hanging over my hand because the guy I've subdued is massive.
You better hope there's not like any serial killer-esque springs in Cheltenham in the next coming weeks, because you will be prime suspect number one.
Yeah, well, I'm very well trained after playing these Hitman games, but we're not here to talk about Hitman. I've been having a good time on that though. But yeah, so Pokemon. Yeah, I think it's cool for kids now again, isn't it?
It's come back around. It's oh, Connie, this Game Boy and game stolen.
He did. I remember that. It was stolen at Boys Brigade camp.
Even better. The story is better and better.
Yeah, some bastard stole his Game Boy and Pokemon Blue at camp. So that's why he lost all of his Pokemon. But I've got that Electrode safe on my cartridge.
Good man. But yes, you are right. It has come full circle, and it's such a trip to see, because like my nephew is about 8, 9, 7 years old, and
he's 5 to 11.
He is an age. He is preteen. But when Pokemon Go came out and he was like 5 or something, he got really, really into it. And now he's a lot older, and he got bought a Switch for Christmas, and he started playing Pokemon Sword and Shield. And it was so weird to be there as this 30-year-old male and my nephew, teaching him how to play Pokemon and like telling him how he's doing it wrong and all of this kind of stuff. And it's such a weird, I don't know if you've experienced this, Jesse, but like to have a generation that was not even born when not even like the 5th generation was around, and you're there kind of teaching them and showing them something that's your childhood, because Pokemon was our childhood. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, you sort of feel a bit protective about it, don't you? But then it gets gatekeepery and weird. And I had a similar thing, and that it made me feel old actually. When we went to visit, so Bobby used to stay with a family when she did theatre in Ipswich, and we went to Ipswich and met this family because like Bobby's good friends with them. Went out for a drink with them. Got this really cute little boy. He must have been 5 or 6 or something, and mad into Pokemon. And once he realised that I knew about Pokemon, I was the coolest grown-up ever, which was awesome. Right. I was down with that. But we started, he was like, oh, do you know all the Pokemon in order? And I was like, do I know all the Pokemon in order? And I was like, right, let's do them together then. And I was like, right, Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur, Charmander. And he went, no. And I went, what? And he went, no, Mega Venusaur. And I went, what? And he went, Mega Venusaur comes after Venusaur. And I was like, the fuck is Mega Venusaur? And then there's Mega Charizard, and all these Mega Revolutions that I'd never properly got into. But he was counting that in his thing, and suddenly I lost all my street cred for not knowing the Megas.
Well, he was wrong. He was wrong.
He was. Oh, Aaron's tuned in. That's nice.
Aaron using Pokemon in his lessons, teaching the young.
Aaron is a primary school teacher. We should clarify for anyone who doesn't know.
He's not a driving instructor. That would be awkward. But no, I can see how that would work with kids. You kind of relate stuff, count the dog trios, something like that. I'd be a terrible teacher. Terrible.
Yeah, you would be terrible. But the greatest, we're all over the place on today's episode. I quite like it. There's one of the greatest lessons ever in the first Pokemon film. Mewtwo, one of the last things Mewtwo says in the first Pokemon film is, I understand now, it's not the circumstances of one's birth that's important. It's what you do with your life that matters. And I think that is a lovely sort of analogy that everyone should live by.
I agree, and we are going to be tattoo it on my chest. We are going to be all over the place because this is our final couple of episodes, so we're talking about all the things we love. And as people know, when me and Jesse speak about something we're really passionate about, we go hard on the knowledge and all of the. Let's talk about memories and all the things we love.
Yeah.
So fun.
Talking of Mewtwo, do you remember that picture of that girl I sent you that had the same body shape as Mewtwo?
Yes.
It was good, right? No, we probably shouldn't talk about that. So, it was good though. So yeah, the old games, new games, kids are into them. Kids don't get bullied for it anymore, I don't think, which is good. I guess you would in secondary school. I guess there's still an age cutoff, isn't there?
So much Nintendo nerd, but we're gonna get there. We haven't even started our top 5 yet, so we're gonna get cracking now, aren't we, Jesse?
You've missed 10 minutes of us talking about the good old days, Nintendo nerd. Good old days being what, like the 90s when Pokemon was all black and white.
Yeah, and now it's all 3D and the colours hurt my eyes. It's not very good.
Yeah.
Would you like to kick us off? Are you feeling confident?
Yeah, okay. I'll start. I think mine are pretty. I don't know if you've done some interesting picks, but I think mine are fairly straight down the line, but they are classics. I'm starting with Pokemon Black, which and White, I suppose by extension, but I owned Black, so I'm saying Black. The underrated, I think. No one seems to really talk about Pokemon Black and White as much anymore. It's Pokemon Black came out in 2010, as your little banner kindly has informed me. So I was 20. I played that and genuinely felt like a child again when I played that game, which I haven't done with any other Pokemon games post Generation 2. The reason is, nice, we've got nice little footage. So at the time, it looks a bit dated now, but at the time, graphically, this looked stunning. And it was quite sort of like 3D-ish in a really cool way. But the best thing about this game is they just canned all the old Pokemon. They just did 150 brand new Pokemon with no crossovers from previous generation. That's awesome. Just felt like a brand new game. And me and my mate Rob, who were playing this together, decided to stay off the internet and not look at spoilers in advance of it coming out. Because this was back when it would come out in Japan a long time before. And we stayed off, no spoilers, so we didn't know about any of the Pokemon, any of the cities or anything, and that's what made me feel like a child, because you would get your starter, you'd catch things just because it looked cool, not because you'd googled, oh, it evolves into this and this is wicked and this is how I'm going to do my team. You just built your team up naturally, like I would have done when I was a kid, and it was awesome. It's such a fun game, and the storyline's cool. Do you remember N, the sort of main protagonist from this, with the long green hair? He's like he was like raised by Pokemon and he wants to free Pokemon. He's a bit sort of animal rights, but really evil about it at the same time. He's basically PETA.
No, but N's justification was you got behind him. It's like the first villain in the Pokemon games that you actually kind of sympathize with. And especially near the end when you find out like he's abused by his dad and all this other kind of stuff, and he just wants Pokemon to be happy. You feel like a little bit like the monster of like, oh God, I'm going to kill his Pokemon and kill his dreams. Great. Yeah,
it was rough. But whatever this video is that you've pulled from somewhere, the nickname they've given their Pokemon is Spankwire. I like that.
Fully support.
Well into that.
But you're right, having that original 150. Like no other Pokemon were in it. It was just like this was new. It was so much fun to play with. And I fell in love with so many Pokemon. In this one, Scraggy. Scraggy became one of my all-time favorite Pokemon. And the different areas like Desert Land and the mountains and gyms that you had, it was just a breath of fresh air versus like, oh, it is Rattata.
Yeah. Oh, I had this guy, Venipede. I caught him, and he turns into like a horrific sort of massive poison.
You had a horrible team. Like this thing was perfect. Like Jesse picks your favorite type. I'll speak for you. Is like the poisons and the bug and just the nasty little shits that are in the Pokemon world.
Yeah.
And this game is perfect for you. Yeah. Because it had a lot of ugly Pokemon in it.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, just some hideous Pokemon. You could build like this poisonous evil team. But even as a child, I remember liking all that stuff. Like Koga was always my favorite gym leader in the original games. And I loved that in the second generation, they bumped him up to the Elite Four. He was like the only character that got that treatment. Sort of, he got a clear promotion from Gen 1 to Gen 2. Oh, I thought it was quite cool that Blue, sort of the your rival in Gen 1, became the 8th gym leader as well in Kanto. That's cool. But Koga being bumped up and then Jasmine taking on the gym, I thought, oh, that's awesome. I thought that was really cool. And that's what made me fall in love with poison types, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a strong choice. And I would say that Pokemon Black and White was the last really challenging Pokemon game. They got a bit easier and a bit like hand-holdy after this, but this was the last one I felt that was just good luck.
Yeah, I agree. Did Heart Gold and Soul Silver was before this?
Okay, so Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out in 2009. So it's Heart Gold, then Pokemon Black.
So in that case, you're absolutely right. Black is the last challenging one.
And you know why I know that? Well, because of later on. But another reason of memory was I remember being a broke-ass student and I couldn't afford Pokemon Black because I was a student. I was on blah, 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 blah. So in order to afford it, I had to trade in Heart Gold to get a discount on Black. And I've regretted it. I wake up in sweats.
That's rough.
Night. Yeah. Heart Gold life decision.
Heart Gold and Soul Silver are like sort of gold dust now.
They're like gold and silver.
Yeah, like gold and silver, yeah. Oh, I haven't got it in my game. I've literally got my Game Boy right here, but I've got Alpha Sapphire in there right now, not Heart Gold. I have been playing that recently, though.
Yeah, Jesse's going to get to around about pick number 3, and you'll just see the DS just slowly come up while I'm talking and just playing out.
Special edition Pokemon Pikachu one as well. I spent more money on this than I would ever admit to anyone.
And I have a special edition X and Y 3DS.
You do? I like that one. And exclusive. we traded DS pens. Look, so my pen should be white, but it's black because it's from your DS, and I gave you my white one. So we're like little. It's like Blood Brothers, but DS Pen Brothers.
That's adorable. I like that you played it in Japanese. Of course, that would make it that much harder. Maybe that's a new challenge that you do. You put the game in a different language and just see what happens.
I played, because I was all nerdy and wanted to get into it, I downloaded a ROM of Pokemon Green, which was the first edition. So when Pokemon first came out in Japan, it was Pokemon Red and Green. And then they re-released them as Pokemon Red and Blue with like updated sprites and sort of a few bugs fixed and things like that. But someone's translated Pokemon Green into English that you can download as a ROM. But because it's only in Japanese, the character spacing is different. So you can only fit like you only need like much less Japanese characters than English letters to make words. So they've just like done the most ridiculous abbreviations when you're talking to people to fit the English into where the Japanese was in Pokemon Green. So you're playing it and it's like, you battle, come now. And all that. It's brilliant. It's like caveman Pokemon.
Caveman Pokemon. I would be invested in that. We, what challenge did we do recently or tried to make Pokemon difficult again? Was it the Nuzlocke challenge?
Yeah, Nuzlocke challenge. I still haven't finished my Pokemon Yellow run of that, but I am in it at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Ninta knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because the Nuzlocke challenge, for people who don't know, is you have your Pokemon, you can only catch the first one in an area. If a Pokemon faints, they're dead, and you got to get rid of them. It's hard.
It is hard.
Especially in the older games, like playing that mode in, say, Yellow, for example, is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I was playing a stupidly easy game. I was playing like Sun and Moon or something like that. And for the first time ever in my life, the battle against my rival, he gets a critical hit and kills my starter. I was just like, dump it on.
And forever. Yeah. Gone.
Yeah,
my Sand Slash, who I'd caught on like as a sand shrew on Route 2, gone through the whole journey with him. He fucking gets killed by Blaine's Arcanine with like a flamethrower, who's this like the 7th gym. So I've gone through a lot of the game with this Sand Slash by my side. And he's just dead like that. That's the last. I think I put it down and had a breather after that. Like I can't.
Yeah, carry on with that. That's translation for Yellow Cry, because you do get weirdly attached. Oh, you do. You have to nickname them as well, which is a Nuzlocke rule. You have to nickname each Pokemon you catch, which does make you more attached to them as well. Yeah, especially if you call them like dad or mum. And then it's just,
he's left me again.
He went for a pack of smokes. Okay, my pick. I was struggling because the ones you've picked are a lot of my favorites. So I was kind of like, what should I do? What should I do? But I feel like it's very important for us to talk about this particular game quite high up on the list.
Okay.
Right. There's going to be some rumbles in the comments, and there's going to be some messages coming in, I'm sure. But Pokemon Go in 2016 was just beyond influential. Like it felt like being back in 1998 in that era of Pokemon and wrestling and South Park and that kind of peak pop culture. Everyone was playing Pokemon Go. And even people who weren't into Pokemon were like downloading it and getting involved in it. It was...
It is quite nice, isn't it? When like something sweeps the world like that, like something that big, and just everyone's in on it. And yeah, it was nice. And it was a really hot summer, wasn't it, as well? And I remember sort of going out when it was first out and sort of going around the park, and everyone was like, "Oh, there's a Squirtle over there," just to strangers, just all to each other. And we're like, "Oh, thanks, man." And it was really nice. A lot of people poo-poo Pokemon Go, sort of, saying it's a fad and they're too cool for it, man. But yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah, like, okay, it didn't have the longevity. We all had an amazing summer. I think when Elliot was on the show, I told the story about how I remember being in like Birmingham Pigeon Park and just sitting with all of these people. Like, England is not a sociable country by any stretch of the imagination, but everyone was in this park. And they were swiping. This was the explosion of people buying charging banks. Everyone had a charging bank that they were using. And then there was a legendary somewhere off, and everyone was like, "We got to go." People were running out of the park to go and catch. It was literally like the advert where I remember when the adverts came out, and it was just like, well, that's never going to happen. People are going to be like in a group throwing Pokeballs. And then I witnessed it in real life, and I was like, oh, it does happen. And your old flat was a Pokestop.
It was. That was brilliant. So I just sat on my fat ass on the sofa all day, just spinning away.
I've never visited Jesse Moore.
It was good. Yeah, it was good.
Swiping away. And again, it was cool to see, especially when you put it into the AR mode, like it's shown on the screen here. So you could kind of have it on screen and hatching your eggs and doing all of this really cool stuff that allowed you to kind of... I made some friends playing Pokemon. Like, I would have people... It was weird.
First time ever.
For the first time in my life, I had people in my life. It was beautiful. And yeah, everyone was like, "Oh, do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to go out for a couple of hours?" And even though it was mobile phone and technology that kind of did that, it allowed people to kind of go outside again. I reckon if Pokemon Go launched post-lockdown, they'd make a killing. They'd make an absolute killing. Oh, everyone's going to be outside and give them a reason to go back out and do things. It'd be great.
Yeah. This is more reasons why I think Nintendo are secretly controlling the world, because that came out at a great time in the summer. And then as soon as lockdown happened, Animal Crossing comes out on the Nintendo Switch, which was like it was like the exact opposite of the Pokemon Go summer, right? Like it brought everyone together and we were all like enjoying Animal Crossing together, but just stuck inside.
Yeah, definitely. Mystery Dungeon as well. Did you ever play Mystery Dungeon?
I have to say I've never played a Mystery Dungeon game. Maybe I'm missing out.
And they are good fun. They're good little games, and you kind of get invested in, being a little Pokemon and doing all that kind of stuff. Because there are a lot of side games, and we will speak about those later in kind of honorable mentions, because there's the N64 platforms and the puzzle games and mobile games, as we've just spoken about. But in terms of cultural impact, there's, Pokemon Go was on the news. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone was doing it. So I feel like it just has to be in the list. Has to be.
Do you remember that footage of I think it was in New York or something, where a rare Pokemon had turned up somewhere, and you just see just hordes of people just running down the road and stuff, sort of vaulting over taxis and stuff, to get where they needed to go. It was mental. That's
what I loved about America, because I used to watch a couple of YouTubers, and they'd be like, "Well, we're gonna go jump in the car and go to this meetup and try and find some stuff."
Yeah. And then they brought in that thing where you couldn't spin shit if you were going too fast because it assumed you were driving. Yeah. So people found ways around that as well. So they were still just spinning away. Yeah.
I remember being on a bus when that happened. I was like, "I ain't driving. Let me spin." I just trying to hit as many stops as I could as I was going on my bus journey. Good times. But then they introduced a lot of battle stuff, and I still think it's a good game. And Cromie you were just saying that you still play it now, which is cool. And I'm tempted to kind of pick it back up again. The only reason I haven't is I can't remember my login. I'd have to start from scratch again.
That sucks. And of course, we won't talk about it too much because it might be one of your picks, although I don't think it will be. Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee came out on the Switch, which certainly took the Pokemon Go element to a fun new level. I got that when it came out with the Pokeball that you can use as a one-handed joystick, which is actually really handy with a bunch of other Switch games as well.
Yeah. A lot of people kind of shit on the Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. I loved it. I thought it was just simple, turn your brain off, have a bit of fun.
Yeah, and it's like a remake of the original games, so it's nice and familiar. It's a really nice entry-level game for young kids, I think, to get into Pokemon.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Well, that's one of the games my nephew got into. I think he got Let's Go Pikachu. And yeah, I loved it because it is that kind of simple mechanic. It will be reasonably challenging for a 5-6-year-old, but for 28-year-olds who shouldn't be playing it. It was just a nice way to spend a couple of hours, really.
Yeah, exactly. Lovely.
Relive my youth. Okay, so Jesse Vance, number 3. The most popular choice. I'm surprised it's so high.
Surprised it's so high? Well, I only have one more pick after this, and I think that pick warrants being number 1. But Pokemon Red started it all for me. This was the first Pokemon game I ever owned. I believe I've talked about this to you before, and I know it sounds pathetic when you talk about it, but it's genuinely the greatest memory of my childhood is Christmas. Cromie's just messaged, I used a ceiling fan to hatch some of my eggs. I'm assuming by placing your phone or attaching the phone to it and it spins around so it thinks you're just running in a circle, just getting those.
I'm picturing him just putting it too high though and just seeing this phone just going woof, straight out the window.
My eggs! Pokemon Red, my greatest memory from childhood was Christmas, 90 whatever year Pokemon came out. And my mum, first of all, my dad had bought me a Game Boy Color, which was a great present, but in true dad fashion, he buys it with no games or anything, right? So you sort of oh, great. So I could turn it on. Bing, Game Boy. Bing, Game Boy. That's all I could do. And so I'd asked for Pokemon Red for Christmas or Blue, whatever my mum could get hold of. And my mum had sat me down, proper mum sort of serious stuff, and gone, look, I don't want you to get too excited for Christmas because this game is sold out everywhere. I just can't get it. So you haven't got it. So, don't expect it because I don't want you to be disappointed on Christmas Day. And I was like, okay. Genuinely believed it. And then come Christmas Day, open it up, Pokemon Red is in my hands. And it's just everything about that cardboard box, the way it looked with that Charizard on the front, the smell, I can remember it all so clearly. And it was just the happiest I'd ever been because I'd been so well swerved that I wasn't getting it. And it was, this is brilliant. And we were staying at my mum's boyfriend at the time, his parents who were away, but they had a really nice house. And we were staying there. in this beautiful big house, and I just spent the whole day lying on this sort of plush bed that I was staying in the spare room, just playing Pokemon Red on the Game Boy, and it was amazing. Just had the best day ever.
Fan me, darling. We'll get to the other story, my second favorite Jesse Pokemon story, a little bit later. But Pokemon Red was it took you were watching the shows, you saw what it did, and then it kind of gave you that option to play in real life, and that was the most exciting element of it.
Yeah, it was fantastic. See, this is not Red. This is Gold or Silver or Crystal that you're watching here. I think. No, it's not. This is weird.
The colorized version. This is the colorized version of Red.
That's weird. So, right, I've never played
down with
it.
the kids, Jesse. Can't do black and white.
I've never played it colorized. So I played it in black and white. Is how I would have played this game. But yeah, just the TV series had taken the world by storm. I'd actually bought a sort of guide, which I still own. It's torn up. It's here somewhere. A guide of the Pokemon Red and Blue games, like months before I owned the game, just as a kid, just because it was in a newsagent and I begged my mum for it. So I read that cover to cover and knew the game really well before I'd ever played it. But just because I was a nerdy little boy. But no, this is definitely... Yeah, this is... No, look, the sprites are wrong on this. This is Gold, Silver, or Crystal.
I promise you, it says Pokemon
it's not the
Red,
sprites,
Game
the
Boy
sprites,
Color.
The sprites are Gen 2.
All right, Jesse's having a freak out, so I'll get the proper version up for him. Get the proper version. Otherwise, he's going to throw a little hissy fit. There's
people listening on Spotify or like the audio, just go, what the fuck's going on?
Change the video. I'm surprised our listener numbers have never dipped. Like, people just accept us talking about the visual element of it.
Yeah, it's nice of you, but if anyone here is listening audio only, it is all on YouTube if it doesn't make sense. But yeah, Pokemon Red, just stunning. Even though Charmander is my favorite starter, my first ever starter was actually Bulbasaur on my first ever playthrough, which is a little bit of, there you go, a bit of Jesse trivia for you, because I know everyone associates me with Charmander. But Bulbasaur was my first ever one, and I had a great time with my Bulbasaur. And a Growlithe, I remember I had in my first ever team that I got very attached to. And a Vaporeon. No, was it Vaporeon? Yeah, I think it was a Vaporeon from my Eevee. And they were like my three main. I didn't have the most balanced big team back then because I was a child, but I had a good time.
Well, Vaporeon is the best evolution, and I will fight anyone who wants to say different.
You like Vaporeon, don't you? I have a soft spot for... That's better. This is what it looked like when I was a kid. This is
this is my day.
This is my day. Yeah, this is it. I could look how horrible the Charizard looks, like a skeleton. And that Golbat is horrific. Just like, they're horrible, the sprites, really, aren't they? They look nothing like...
Oh, yeah. You used to catch like really cool Pokemon and then you'd throw them out. Like, they'd look really nice. So you'd throw them out and be like, oh, God. Like, I remember Weeping Bell. Weeping Bell looked horrendous.
Yeah.
Just like this holy mass.
Kill me
now. But yeah, Golbat when you're facing it is just ugly as sin.
Yeah.
Beautiful. What were your kind of favorite bits of Red?
As in areas, you mean?
Yeah, like what was it? This section here with the plant and stuff that really got you going.
This is the Silphco, my friend. Oh God, I've blanked the name of the fucking city that it's in. It's Sabrina's city. She's the gym leader of this place. It's not Celadon. It's to the right of Celadon. I can't remember. South of Vermilion. I can remember them all except for this one.
See in the comments.
Yeah, Cromie remembers the book. Is it Sapphire City? I can't remember. I like Saffron. Thank you. Thank you, Nintendo. I like the Cinnabar Island. I was a big fan of, only because it felt like the most epic journey to get there. And again, you do it now, and it's like, oh, you're just surfing through a small body of water and fighting a million tentacles. It's actually quite annoying. But back then, it was like I'm surfing on this massive journey and going through Seafoam Islands. There you go, right on cue. This is Seafoam Islands, and
oh god,
adverts. And then you end up in Cinnabar Island, which I thought was really cool. And then it blew my mind when I travelled north from Cinnabar Island. And I was just back at my hometown. I was like, holy shit, like, I've done this whole loop and it was amazing. And I didn't realise that, like, sort of, it felt so far away, Cinnabar Island, and it was just that close to Pallet Town. That was cool. I really like Victory Road, big fan of, and the Unknown Dungeon, where you find Mewtwo at the very end. That was sort of a real, because you got to remember, kids, internet wasn't a big thing back when this came out, so you weren't necessarily, you weren't in the know about all this stuff. So going and finding Mewtwo after all you thought you'd done everything was mind-blowing.
Yeah, it was a head trip, and also so difficult. Still in Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, still struggled, and I felt really embarrassed that I still struggled. It was terrible. But yeah, that was the beauty of, like, these kind of games, was the learning and not understanding. And you talk to your friends the next day, and you go, "Did you know that you can get this, and this evolves into this?" I don't even know how we discovered some of the stuff that we did. That was the beauty of games in my day. You could just experiment.
Yeah, it was lovely. And then there was obviously what's known as the rare candy cheat, or Missingo, and all that came out. And Missingo has become like Pokemon folklore, which I really like. So for anyone that doesn't know, there's a glitch in Pokemon where if you speak to the guy that teaches you how to catch Pokemon near the start of the game in Viridian City, and then fly to Cinnabar Island and surf up and down the right, you will find a Pokemon called Missing No Dot, so like missing number, and it's just this blur, and it's you can catch it, and 9 times out of 10 it will corrupt your save file, but sometimes it doesn't. It just fucks up the Hall of Fame. But you catch it and look at its stats. It's half water, half bird. Now, bird isn't a Pokemon type, but Missingo was half bird. And that was obviously a type that they'd put in and then got rid of. So I think they've confirmed that Missingo was supposed to be a Kangaskhan pre-evolution. So the little baby Kangaskhan, that was going to be a Pokemon. And then for time restraints or whatever, they had to pull it out last minute, but it became a glitchy Missingo. And that has become folklore. And I saw one of my friends was saying his son was talking about Missingo in the school with his friends recently, sort of talking about this old glitchy Pokemon. And it's like this cool sort of crazy folklore. And it was like we were there on the front lines, man, when it happened.
Passed down from generation to generation, because I honestly think Pokemon will be one of these games that it's never going to go away. It's always going to be around in some form of fashion, and that's really cool. I mean, when it gets like, if I have grandkids and they're like, I heard this legend of a glitchy Mew that you can get under a truck, and that's going to be a trip.
Yeah. At Nintendo, just talking about Mew glitch, it wasn't the truck. God, I put so much effort into getting to that truck, and there's nothing you can do with that fucking truck. But there is a way, by talking to certain people on Nugget Bridge and all this stuff, that you can glitch the game to encounter a wild Mew legitimately, which I only found out about like 4 years ago. I never knew about that when I was a kid. And I would have been the coolest kid in school if I'd known that when I was like 9 years old. If I could go back, that'd be amazing. But what you say about Pokemon being around forever, you're right. And what's cool about Pokemon is it's literature, right? So think of like, well, we get into like, when we're kids, we get into Lord of the Rings or film, like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars and stuff like that. And our parents are going, oh, isn't that funny that they're getting into that? Because that's what we were into when we were kids. And it's just must be this timeless thing. That's what Pokemon is. I think Pokemon and Harry Potter are the two things from our generation that we were around when it started. And they're going to be around forever for like generations. Kids are going to be loving Harry Potter and loving Pokemon.
I 100% agree. People are appealing to our nature, Jesse. How would Pokemon Descendants and Pokemon All versions work? You'd have like Milo as the professor.
Yeah, well, obviously, yeah. Bill Stevenson. I'd like Bill Stevenson to be your rival because he just is good at everything, right? So he would be the one that one-ups you on everything. The Descendants version would vastly outsell the All version, even though the All version the All version would work harder and do more. But the Descendants one would still sell most. That would be good.
Oh, that's a niche as far crossover for our other listeners.
That's just one guy who is just appealing to our nerdy nature.
I love it. I love it.
Side note, though, just a quick plug. If anyone's listening who is into Descendants and All, Scott Reynolds, who is the former singer of All, has just released a solo album, literally in the last couple of days, and it's on Spotify. It's an acoustic solo album, and it's really fucking good.
Let's get him on the show. Reach out, Jesse.
I bet he would, actually. He seems up for stuff like that.
Cool. Stay tuned, people. We're going to work on magic. Okay, number 2 for me. Pokemon Omega Ruby.
Nice.
Ruby.
Right, Kaiser Chiefs are such a shit band.
They are, but we've all been in the clubs, Jesse, and we've all sung along, so don't think you're better than us.
They were on Ant and Dec's Saturday Night Takeaway the other week, and you could just tell that they really thought they weren't shit, and it annoyed me because they were awful.
At least appreciate your shitness. Come on, people.
Yeah, exactly.
So Omega Ruby is a remake of Ruby and Sapphire, basically, and then they came out with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, redone for the 3DS in 2014, and great games. This is that kind of time period of, it's like WE in 2002 and 2003. Everyone was there for the Attitude Era, and they were there for red, blue, and yellow. And then everyone dropped off when it stopped becoming popular. But then there were these great little moments that came just afterwards when they were trying to hold on to the magic. And I think that's what Ruby and Sapphire were, great little games.
Our analogies are on fire today.
We're isolating majority of the audience. But it was one of those games that just had so many cool new features with the swimming and the diving and the exploring. You had 2 teams that were vying for your affection. I felt very loved. I would have gone with either of them.
Did you? Yeah, anyone who loves me, I'm into. Did you play them the first time round, Ruby and Sapphire on the Game Boy Advance?
No, I only did the remake.
Oh, really? That's interesting. This is not Amy has just commented saying she's checked if she still has a Mew. If she does, I will get that Mew from you. Let me buy your Mew.
Amy, stop watching. Go find that Mew. No, don't stop watching. Stay after the episode.
Yeah, find the Mew.
Yes. So Omega Ruby. Let's play a little clip as we've been doing as we've been going along, and the way they redid it as well was very cool. In terms of the graphics and the design of it,
it did look good.
Was that first one that they adapted properly, where you go, this is all new and shiny and 3D, and it looked really, really cool. So for me, I think this is one of the best remakes that they've done. And if they kind of followed suit on a lot of this kind of style, I'd be happy. Give me black and white in this.
That'd be cool.
Black and white's got to be the next remake, right?
It's the next generation, isn't it? That they're to do, because they're doing Diamond and Pearl that's coming out later this year, which looks really good actually. A lot of people don't like the sort of chibi, small looking graphics on that, but I actually think it looks cool. That looks right up my street, like the Link's Awakening remake, right?
Yeah, exactly. Link's Awakening, one of the prettiest remakes, and I think the same for this as well. Use those little figures, because all they've done is just upscaled it a little bit, but enough for me to get all excited about it. Because look at the graphics on this; it's so good.
It is good. It's interesting that you never played Ruby and Sapphire the first time round. So you weren't, when you were playing this, you were playing it like a new game. You weren't comparing it to the old days. Yeah,
and that made it so much better. The opening of this game, when you're in the back of the moving truck, and the animation of that, and they open it, and you're in your kind of first town, was kind of mind blowing. The way they did it.
Was cool. Yeah, I agree. It was. I have to say, the originals, the Game Boy Advance ones, and again, this is probably childhood memories and stuff. I hold that much fonder to my heart than this. the diving and the secret base and stuff, that was all there on the original game, and then they just abandoned it on other stuff. But it was really exciting. Going underwater was awesome. That was such a new sort of thing that was. It's a very water orientated map, actually, isn't it?
You spend most of your time kind of surfing, but it's a weird Pokemon game as well because there are obviously water Pokemon, but not a huge selection for a predominantly water-based game, which I always found a bit weird about it.
Yeah. Who was your starter choice on this game?
Ooh, who did I have? I think I did go water on this one because I knew that it was going to be, I knew it was going to be. And Mudkip had cool evolutions, so...
Yeah, all three are pretty cool in this game, actually. I always like Torchic, the little fire chicken.
Yeah, fire chicken is good. It's... Again, when we talk about starters in later games, water Pokemon always seems to get ignored. It's always like they made it like the fruity, fluffy kind of choice of a Pokemon, which is odd.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
The most powerful.
Although the one in the most recent game, Sword and Shield, Swabble. So, it's like this sort of really timid looking water lump. Then it evolves and grows into a sex predator. Like the final evolution of it is just like strutting around and looks like it's about to molest someone.
Yeah, strong that you had it. Because what did Trico evolved into? He had that kind of like coming after you kind of vibe when he got to his third evolution.
Yeah, he was just this sort of big lizardy sort of thing that's going to lumber after you and suck your brain out through your nose. But it's Trico, arguably, is the best starter because of all generations. Because unlike any other starter, Trico has his speed stat is way accelerated, whereas all other starters are just sort of middle. Do you know what I mean? Like they're all average Pokemon. That's the point of them, right? And they're sort of split down the middle, but Trico, his speed stat is amazing. No other starter like that. So there's a hot tip for you. Hot
tip from Jesse. I feel like Amy's referring to Brock's sexual vibes when it comes to...
I see. Yeah. He was a bit of a predator, Brock, wasn't he?
He was. Like, you rewatched him now and it's like, bro, consent. Calm down.
I don't know how he could see them in the first place, quite frankly.
The drawing on that game on the TV show was awful, wasn't it? Maybe that was the problem. Alpha Sapphire, Omega Ruby, whatever you want to call them, was great games. And Jesse's right, because I did go back and play a ROM of the originals just to kind of see the difference between the two. And you're right, the fact that you could kind of do that diving, building the bases was just fun and different. Awesome. And I don't understand why they abandoned it. And the cool stuff with the volcanoes and blah, blah, blah. Loved it. Which team were you?
I owned Sapphire. So by default, it depends what version you owned originally on which team was your ally and which team was your enemy. So because I owned Sapphire, Team Magma were my friends and Team Aqua were my enemies.
Strong. They didn't abandon bases in Gen 4. Which one is Gen 4? But they had them underground.
So... Oh, like Black and White and all that.
Oh, yeah, Black and White bases and stuff, yeah. We've spoken a lot about Black and White, but Black and White is my next push for a remake game.
I might have a replay through, actually. I haven't played that for a while.
Yeah, I tried to find an emulator, and I always do this while I get a Pokemon craving and I don't have like a DS to play or anything. And then I feel like, I'll just emulate it, but it's just not the same feeling.
No, I still own all mine, mate. I've kept hold of them.
You're a smart man. It is me just willy-nilly throwing Pokemon games away, thinking I'm better than them. What an idiot.
Them out the window. I know.
Yeah, fuck, I don't need you anymore. Get out of here. It brings me right back. I remember that time when they were releasing them yearly, and it was like every October you got excited because it was like it's Pokemon season. I get to stay inside. When me and Jess used to live with each other, we had it was the four of us living together, and there was two DSs in the house. someone would start playing Pokemon, and then everyone else would go, "Oh, what you got
No.
over there?"
I think there was 3 DSs in the house, which is kind of worse. So there was always there was just one person who wasn't playing. And we ended up calling it Poke Envy, didn't we? Like you'd get Poke Envy if you were the one person not playing, and you just get a hankering to play a Pokemon game, was watching other people. We played a lot of Pokemon, didn't we, in that house? It was great. It was really nice. Just hours, just sitting on the sofa in silence together. I've never felt closer to you.
None of us really worked then either. I don't understand how we afforded that place or lived or ate or did anything really.
I worked. I just did night shifts at HMV. So like I just spend all day playing Pokemon with you, spend all night working at HMV and never sleeping.
It was the dream. It was the dream. And then the 4th person always played The Sims. And then the way the cycle was broken is one of the people playing Pokemon would then go, I want to play The Sims. And that's how we would do the crossover. So it was a simpler time, my friends. It was a simpler time.
It was.
Now, dear Jesse, we're on to number 1 for you. And then we have my number 1 pick. And how are you feeling about it? You ready?
Yeah, I think I was born ready, actually, mate.
Sell it, baby. Sell it.
Pokemon Crystal is the greatest Pokemon game that was ever made, and remains so to this day. Here's why. It came out. So we had Red and Blue that came out in England in 1998. I think Yellow came out in 2000 or something, and then Gold and Silver we had in 2001. Followed by Crystal, which is the special edition of Gold and Silver. So I could include Gold and Silver in this. I actually had Silver when I was a kid, but I'm including Crystal because there's a bunch of bonus stuff in it, which is pretty cool. And you could be a girl for the first time, which is, fun when you feel in that mood. I just thought it blew my tiny mind as a kid when I played this game. So first off, like I talked about, my happiest memory of getting Pokemon Red and that feeling of going into that world, had that again with this, except there's fucking colour. I'm seeing colour. There's 100 new Pokemon that just the idea of... I mean, now when they release new games, there's new Pokemon. You just expect it. But back then, the fact that they could have just kept that 151 Pokemon and made new games on new maps and never made more Pokemon, and everyone would have been happy, I think. But the fact that they just threw in an extra 100 Pokemon, it was like, oh my God, new starters, new map. And then and it's a great story. It's set 3 years. Oh, it looks so good. And look, the first time you could ever play as a girl, and it's such a cool girl sprite as well. That sort of purple color on her. You played through this. It was set 3 years after Red and Blue. Like, it was released 3 years after, but also set. So like they talk about things that happened 3 years ago that you've done in Red and Blue. That's awesome. And then you think you finished the game, you do the Elite Four. Holy fucking shit, they only give you Kanto, so you can go back to the map that you were on Red and Blue and do all that and check the place out, like see what it's like 3 years later. They've built some stuff, they've knocked down some stuff, just like that you do in real life. Like the place has changed a bit. You can do all the gyms. Everyone's tough as nails. You're playing through the first half of this game and you're like, oh, everything's quite low leveled. And then by the end, it's like, holy shit, no, this is like the highest level ever. Red's Pikachu, who is like the final boss of this game, remains the highest level Pokemon from any from any character in Pokemon. There's not a higher level Pokemon in any game. And I love that that's in this game. So at the time when they made this game, Game Freak thought this was going to be the final Pokemon game. And that's why they threw everything at it. They were like, this is the sequel, then we're done. So that's why you get to go back to the old place. Yeah, they thought that was it. They thought they were just going to make that. And artistically, it makes perfect sense for this to be their swan song. It's just got everything you could possibly want. And then obviously it sold so stupidly well. And then the Game Boy Advance came out and it was like, you should probably carry on making Pokemon games. And obviously it's done well for them. But the
just a bit.
Yeah. But the colours, like even now looking at this, I don't know how it looks to people who don't have the tinted nostalgia like me, but it just looks so vibrant. And the fact that you were playing it on this tiny screen, but the colours just popped. Like as a kid, it was amazing. Taking the train from one region to another, or the boat, and sort of battling people on that. Just it felt so RPG-y. I'm a big fan of
It felt huge.
Yeah, exactly. It did. It felt massive, and I'm a huge fan of JRPGs now. And I think it came from this game because it felt massive, and I'd never experienced a map this size and somewhere where I could completely lose myself in this game. I could go from town to town. I could like move from region to region and just have the best time. It felt like I was there. I think that's what it is. It's the first game I ever played where I felt like I was there.
Yes, and I do think that they were the best Pokemon. Like the Johto Nintendo's right. It's like the Johto Pokemon and all of this that we're seeing now with the radio tower. And when you mentioned about the boat, you went and battled each one. You searched in the trash cans. I swear a bit of my OCD is to blame from Pokemon of checking every single trash can in every single house that I go to. And yeah, all of the stuff that you get is huge because then you have like the lighthouse stuff that you're doing as well, and you have the Goldenrod City Gym. Whitney. We'll get to Whitney in a bit, but
fuck Whitney.
Fuck Whitney. But there's just so much, and you're right. Just the colors. Like, look at that Arbok. He looks great.
It's beautiful. I think and just bearing in mind, kids, just remember, like we showed that red and blue footage. From before, that's what we played. I mean, there was Pokemon Yellow, and they had put colors into that, but it wasn't anything like this. Like playing that red and blue in that black and white, and then suddenly you turn this on, and poof, just all these colors, just incredible. And it's in your hand, and you can take it wherever you go. Like I know portable gaming is obviously a thing now, but the fact that I think handheld gaming before this had always been second best. It was like you would play your Sega or your SNES at home, and that was your preferred choice. But it was like, oh, if I have to be dragged out somewhere, I'll take my Game Boy. But I'd rather be playing, the SNES on a big telly and stuff. But this is the first time where it was like, no, I'd rather be handheld. Like this is the best game that's out there right now for me. And I'd rather be doing this than anything on a telly or a home console.
Yeah, completely agree. And so I had gold, obviously, and I got a shiny Venonat. That was my save, and I was just at the time I didn't know what shinies was. As we were saying, like you can't Google anything, you can't look into anything. It's just this Venonat appeared and it had like a little bling as you kind of caught it, and I was just like, cool, this seems a bit different. Caught it, and then like years later I realized I had this cool shiny Venonat. Have you ever? What's your shiny record like, Jesse?
Terrible. So I in Sun and Moon I caught a few shinies, and Sword and Shield as well. But in the newer games, it's not the same. They've dropped the odds massively to encounter shinies, and you can manipulate the game so that you can, if you persevere with it enough, you find a shiny eventually. But it wasn't like that in the old games. It was just complete random chance, like 1 in 10,000 or something, that you'd come across a random shiny. And I found a blue Paris once in Mount Moon, and accidentally killed it instead of catching it. I will never forget that. It was
heartbreaking.
Dreadful.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah. So on Game Boy, Game Boy Color games are the only games that I consider it an achievement to have to find a shiny on. And I never have. I genuinely never have caught a shiny on gold, silver, or crystal.
I feel like this is your odyssey that you need to go on. Do
you think I should? I should go back.
This is a wrong you need to write for sure. You could be like our favorite YouTuber.
That guy was so good. The guy that accidentally killed a shiny, and he sounded like Tom Waits. He was sort of talking like this, and I was just gonna find a shiny, you guys. Shiny. He was. Oh man, I've tried to find that video recently and I can't. We need to go back through the archives of our conversations on Facebook or something to find it.
Impossible, my friend. Impossible. Will not work. So yeah, there's no arguing. Whenever these lists kind of come up, Soul Silver, Gold, Silver, whatever, they all kind of top it when we have these kind of conversations, and rightfully so.
I agree. Yeah, they did remake Gold and Silver into Crystal. they remade Gold and Silver, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and used the crystal elements on that. And they're incredible games as well. But the nostalgia of the way that crystal looks from back in the day is what seals the deal for me.
Yeah, 100% agree. Well, do you want to keep the nostalgia train running with my number 1 pick?
Hell yeah.
All right. It's Heart Gold. We're going to keep talking about it.
There you go. So same game, but prettier, better graphics. But they threw in a few cool extra stuff as well.
They did. It was a big graphical improvement in terms of gameplay, and it was still the spritey version, but it was the first time that it felt like upscaled and colored and just so much cooler, and also felt bigger in terms of the game that you were playing. Like at the core, it was still the same game, but just somehow it felt like this much larger world that you were kind of involved with. And I don't know if that was the color or whatever in terms of what you did, but I was Heart Gold. Like gold was always my thing, and then silver for Jesse, and I think we stuck with that in Heart Gold and Soul Silver as well, didn't we?
Yeah, in fact, I remember I went for Soul Silver because I had silver when I was a kid and you had gold. But Arcanine has always been one of my favorite Pokemon who's only available on gold, not silver. So I think I actually got my Growlithe, which became an Arcanine, off of you. I traded it, and I think I got it as an egg. So I'm the original trainer of that Growlithe, even though it came from your game. So I've raised it like it was my own son.
And as you can see here, you could pick a Pokemon to kind of follow you around, very similar to the original Pokemon Yellow, where you could kind of have stuff. Yes, it's the best looking game. Of course it is. It's beautiful.
It is very good.
You could get like the apricorns, and you could like make Pokeballs out of these special apricorns and stuff. Was so much fun to kind of do as well. And I feel like just the way it's done as well, in terms of like the shading and the drawing and the colors, separates it from all other Pokemon games.
Why don't they let us have a Pokemon follow us around in every subsequent Pokemon game?
I know.
Why wouldn't you just leave that in? Yeah,
like literally this game, Let's Go Eevee and Pokemon Yellow. And they feel like it's... Let's Go Eevee was hilarious. Like if you had like a Venusaur or a Dragonair or something, it would just be like this mass following you around. It was ridiculous. It's just a perfect game for me, and I've been speaking to you quite a bit about it, Jesse, where I regret trading it in and getting rid of it, and I've never played it since, and I want to kind of pick up a copy. But the popularity of this game, it still costs you like 40, 50 quid to pick up a copy.
Yeah, its value has never dropped.
Not once has the value dropped on this game. Even though it's 12 years old, it's still got the same kind of weight to it. And also, do you remember when you bought it? If you bought like the pack, you got a little disc.
The Poke Walker.
The Poke Walker, that was it.
Which, interestingly, is one of the best pedometers ever made. So they made this Poke Walker where you could basically put one of your Pokemon into it. You'd strap it to your belt. It was shaped like a little Pokeball, and it was just a counter. So you'd walk, and it would level up as you were walking. Not very much. I think you could only level it up by 1 maximum. Like every step was an experience point. But it was more accurate to your walking. It's like more accurate than proper fitness pedometers that were made at the time. The Poke Walker is one of the greatest pedometers that's ever been manufactured. And no one knows why, how they got it so right, and actual fitness people couldn't do it.
I think, again, it comes down to that Pokemon Go logic where you were dedicated to doing it and actually doing the steps, because you had your Arcanine in there for ages. I remember you walking around with your Arcanine.
Oh, God, yeah. Alfie the Arcanine was in there for a long time. He came out roided as fuck. He came out of that ball. And I felt bad because I'd sort of I left him in there for ages when I moved on to like a different game or whatever. So I just left him in this Poke Walker away from the game for like over a year. And then I was like, oh shit, I should probably take him out. And so I sort of take him out and put him back in the game. And he's like, where you been, bro? What's going on?
I always remember Sudowooden blocking the path, and you had to kind of fit. That was like the first challenge of the game, and getting the water bottle.
You had to water him because even though he looks like a tree, he's actually a rock type. So putting water on him would agitate him.
Yeah, and he had this kind of weird little sexual dance when you sprayed water on him. He was like, "Hey,
yeah,
come on my road." I liked him. I caught him. He's one of those Pokemon that, like, normally on those kind of freebie Pokemon you get, you catch them, you don't use them. Always use Sudowoodo. Always.
Yeah. And also the joy of this game. If I could just talk about one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, which I know you're aware of, but other people might not be. This game, or like Gold Silver originally, but because we're still talking about this general game, gave me Crobat, who is one of my favorite Pokemon ever. Fucking love Crobat. Whenever I can put a Crobat in my team, I will. And it made Zubat desirable, right? How annoying was Zubat originally? Like in Red and Blue and stuff, he's in every cave. Everyone hates Zubat. But I catch a Zubat early, son. I trade that. I make that Zubat love me. And then it becomes a Crobat eventually. And Crobat, you cannot fuck with Crobat. It's amazing. It's like the fastest Pokemon. It's got poison. It can fly. Nothing wrong with Crobat. Love
it's a
Crobat.
flying disease. It's Jesse's favorite version.
It is, yeah. Crobat, right. But knowing me like you do, Max, Crobat's tailor-made for me, right? The way you could use it. It's speedy. It's poisonous. It's just, it can evade stuff. It doesn't, like, batter you. It just irritates you for ages as you slowly get poisoned and miss all your attacks. That's way more satisfying than just knocking something out.
Infuriating is the word, Jesse. Whenever we used to kind of play this together, was an absolute nightmare. And you're right, no one ever had the patience to catch a Geodude or a Zubat to kind of train it. It was just frustration at the end of the day whenever you were kind of playing them. But you harnessed that frustration. You being you as a person were like, yep, this is what I'm gonna do.
My resentment for Zubat manifested itself and turned it into my evil partner. Thank you, Amy. See, Amy knows. Amy's a Crobat fan now. You need to go and train those Zubats.
See, everyone's converting. Legendary dogs. Are obvious. No, this is a game model that they didn't put in any other Pokemon games. Looking at that map and seeing where they were, and you try.
The roaming dogs. Yeah, that was awesome.
And you try and catch them, and then and their health would stay no matter what you knocked them down to. Say you're facing like Suicune and you knocked it down to like 1 XP, it would stay 1 XP until you could catch it.
Did you ever
got this limping dog just going around,
dragging himself around,
and then just chasing it down the woods?
And then Raikou, who is suspiciously cattish for a legendary dog. But did you ever accidentally poison one like I did? And so like you'd encounter it, and then it would flee. But before it fleed, just another bit of life would go down every time you found it because it was poisoned. And it was like, oh God, it's only a matter of time before this thing's going to die.
You're just going to be in the woods and you just come across this dead dog and you're like, ooh. It's going to cover that with some leaves. Just there we go. Yeah, that's rough. Nicely done. And your rival, we haven't spoken about the rival. We always speak about the rival in this game.
He's a genuine psychopath.
He's a psychopath. And me and Jesse, I always name him Jesse. He always names him Max. And in no other game has there been this rival who, first of all, is scouting out the Pokemon lab at the start of the game. Then he smashes a window, causes havoc, robs a Pokemon, raises it in a bad environment so it becomes this evil Pokemon. Yeah, he probably beats it and he admits to beating it. And then he's
picturing it like pulling the leaf on the Chikorita's head.
I mean, I would always pick Cyndaquil as my choice, which really would be the right choice for the rival. But yeah, he'd end up with Chikorita.
He'd end up with Totodile if you had Cyndaquil. Yeah. I always chose Chikorita, so he always had Cyndaquil, which was good because I always named him Max, and that's what you had, so it worked out well for me.
Yeah, exactly. So I just love how evil he is as a person.
Yeah, Nintendo just beat me to it. He is Giovanni's son, which is revealed later on. In other games, it's sort of hinted at. So that's why he hates Team Rocket so much, because he's Giovanni's unwanted son, and he just wants to take revenge on his loveless father. I imagine Giovanni abandoned him because he's ginger.
It's okay, folks. We can say that because we're ginger. we get a pass. But I want more rivals like that. I'm so sick of these games where it's like my best friend and we're going to compete and see who's the better person. And really, they're super supportive. Like, piss off, steal my Pokemon.
Yeah.
Torture me.
Put candle wax on my chest. What?
Sorry, know where that came from. But yeah, just man up a little bit, Pokemon, in terms of like just be a little bit tougher with us and how you kind of do things. Because this is the next criticism that we'll get to. That unfortunately, the Pokemon games have become a little bit easy. And I understand that as 30-year-old men, we should not be playing Pokemon anymore. But we have money and 10-year-olds don't. So you should cater to us because we're going to give you money. And looping this back around, we have a new game coming out, which is Pokemon Legends Arceus, and I feel like they're finally giving us what we want.
It looks exciting. Yeah, it does look exciting, but I'm holding my breath until more footage is released and stuff like that, because Sword and Shield looked good when like in the early days, you know. Or it looked good in the pre stuff, and then when you play it, it's fine, but it is so easy. Why don't they put a difficulty setting in? I mean, that's all they need to do. That's all they need to do. Players normal or hard. Hard, they take away EXP shares. They limit what you can buy in a Pokemart. They up the levels of a couple of like trainers around the area. That's all you need to do. It's not difficult.
No, yeah, just give us the Pokemon Yellow experience. Traumatize us a little bit. That's constant encounters, not... Because the thing that I found with Sword and Shield is it was just constant pressing A, skipping conversations. And just like, yeah, let me just battle and steal Pokemon. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
Jesse has a great idea for a Pokemon game, and I feel like this is the perfect time for you to pitch your evil Pokemon game to everyone.
Oh, man. But if I do that, does that make it public... Not so that means that someone could just steal it, right? So can I copyright this summer? So copyright the Jazzmeister, Jesse Benz, that's me.
Pinky promise.
Yeah, pinky promise that you're not going to steal my idea. So how cool is this idea? You start as thanks Nintendo.
How could there be a ginger in Soul Silver? I thought they like souls, but I'm ting.
This is true. Mind you, if there's ever a soulless ginger, it is your rival in that game.
Right.
My Pokemon idea: you start as a member of Team Rocket, or you're indoctrinated into Team Rocket as a child. There's like an evil professor. You're in the evil world of Team Rocket. We can use an old map if you like. So like we're underground in the game corner in Kanto or something like that. And that's where all the secret rocket place, which is in the underground place in Goldenrod City. You start there. You're a member of Team Rocket. You're given your starter Pokemon, which, unlike all the other games, is either fighting, dark, or psychic. 3 types of Pokemon that Team Rocket use. Has the same triangle, the same rock, paper, scissors idea as fire, water, grass, because psychic beats fighting beats dark, and dark beats psychic. So you can have the same thing going on, but evil looking cool Pokemon. Now, what would probably happen, because it's a Pokemon game, is at some point in the story you would turn into a good guy. Maybe like you've been raised in this thing, and then you slowly start to realize that Team Rocket isn't all it's cracked up to be, and maybe it's a bit more evil than you thought. So you end up being a good guy and turning against Team Rocket. But if you really put effort into this game, you should have the choice. There should be, like in Fire Emblem, if anyone's played the most recent Fire Emblem game, if you take one of the routes, there's a moment when you can choose to side with the church or side with the rebels. And it just completely changes the game. It's like, it's 2 different games. You have to replay it because it's such a different thing. I would want that in this game. You would either choose to properly side with Team Rocket and you could play out a game where like Team Rocket take over, or you can go against Team Rocket and bring them down. And I think that would be an awesome Pokemon game. It's not like Pokemon Coliseum. Different.
Yeah. Different in Jesse's mind. And that would be perfect. And quick honorable mentions in terms of Pokemon game. Pokemon Stadium 2 on the N64. Greatest mini games invented in the world.
Amazing mini games, and the battle animations of that game are better than like Pokemon Sword and Shield. The animations on Pokemon Stadium 2 N64 game are stunning. It just looks so good.
Yeah, 100%. We spoke about Sun and Moon, and I want to touch on Sun and Moon quickly because it's a great game. In terms of storyline, it's one of the best storyline games in a Pokemon series. In terms of starters, coolest looking starters, except for the water Pokemon. The fire and grass, incredible.
Oh, man. Yeah, because you had the fire who was like a pro wrestling tiger.
Turned into like a pro wrestling cat.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
Awesome. And I had the grass starter who his middle evolution was the campest owl you've ever seen in your life. He was just like this foppish sort of owl, which was brilliant. And then he turns into this like evil ghost owl thing, who was awesome.
Like an assassin. It was
yeah,
incredible.
With a bow and arrow. Yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah, the storyline of it was so cool, and what they were doing with it was so fresh and original. But the gameplay was such a letdown in terms of that was the most hand-holdy game. I didn't even struggle. Not once did I come close to fainting. You had no gyms, you had trials. It was just like meh.
Yeah.
But in terms of starters, we have some controversial. I've never hated a video game more than I hate Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Which is fair, but the mechanical aspect of the starters and the storyline were great, and I will fight anyone with that. But I agree with you. I will never pick up that game again because of how piss poor the actual gameplay was in terms of actually playing it. It was just like meh.
Yeah, I'd agree. Although I don't know, X and Y was pretty bad. I never enjoyed X and Y. I know a lot of people really did like that game, but I never even finished it. I just lost interest in X and Y.
Sword and Shield I didn't finish. I got all 8 gyms, and then it was like, oh, you're off to the Pokemon League, and I just went, no, I'm going to go home. I've had enough. I make a curry, head on back. See you later, lads. No, that's the way it went.
The future looks bright for with this Arceus one, and even the Diamond and Pearl remakes I'm excited for.
Yeah, we have Pokemon Snap coming out as well. Let's not forget Pokemon Snap, the remake. Pokemon Snap was great. Take pictures of Pokemon in a voyeuristic fashion. Everyone's dream. Then Perfect. We have Brilliant Diamond and Dashing Pearl, whatever they've named it. Awful names. Let's all agree, awful names. They're going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun to kind of play. And then we get our first ever, the thing we've been clamoring for all these years of an open world Pokemon game. Cannot wait. Honestly, cannot wait. I will be 35, still enjoying the shit out of Pokemon and don't even care. I'll beat your children. Bring your children with their link cables and I'll destroy them.
I don't think Pokemon's going anywhere. I think we're stuck in this for life now. We're gonna be buying reboots of games for years to come. Where in this list? The original Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum Nintendo are fantastic games, and I remember. I think I actually Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum are to blame for the demise of my first proper girlfriend, like my first proper relationship.
She's still alive.
She's just not happy, and it's because I'd got my first girlfriend. Brilliant. Well into that. I was like, thank you. I was like 15, 16, something like that. Like first proper girlfriend that you're like having sex with and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like proper stuff. And which was really exciting. And but then the DS gets released with Diamond and Pearl as like launch titles with the DS. And it's like, so I bought that. And then it was like, just not interested in this girl anymore. I was just like,
Jesse looked up one day and he went, could you?
Yeah, she's gone. Oh. I was just playing Pearl all the time. When I bought that, it was like, yeah, okay, brilliant. This is brilliant. And I got excited because, like, you know, next generation, new console, it looked brilliant. I think they're great games, the Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum stuff. I would rank them, pretty high, I think. And I'm really excited for the remakes. Good story, good Pokemon. I really liked the additional evolutions as well. It felt like the first time they'd done that, where they'd taken Pokemon that we already knew, but given them some fresh evolutions, like Togetic turns into Togekiss. That was cool. We had 2 new evolutions. Leafeon, who is my favorite evolution for the record, Leafeon, and Glaceon.
Yeah,
Munchlax as well. We got from that generation.
Oh yeah,
who
that's
I'm
when
a
we
big
started to
fan
get
of.
like the little baby versions of Pokemon as
Yeah.
well. That was cool. That was cool. So strong. You know, we can criticize a lot of Pokemon games, but they're still fun. They're still little adventures, and I feel like they're going to go back to the old ways. And just having these remakes makes it exciting again, especially for all of you guys watching. For us, you know, we're all here because we love Pokemon. We love playing it. And that's what we want. Just keep giving it and updating it and bringing it back to us. Let me relive the glory days. God damn it!
Well, that's it. I mean, we do moan about the new stuff sometimes, the newer stuff, but the old stuff hasn't been deleted. If you don't get rid of your games, Max, like you can still like. I still regularly go back and play my old Pokemon games, and I absolutely love it. On this 3DS, I've got all the DS and 3DS games, plus the Game Boy Color games because they release them on the store. So I've got Crystal, I've got Yellow, I've got Red and Blue, all on here. Yeah. And it makes me very happy.
DS. Yeah, just having them there just makes life a lot easier. But that's the end of this week's episode. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining, giving your comments, your thoughts on your favorite Pokemon games. It's been fun reading your stories as we've been going through. For new listeners, make sure you subscribe to the podcast or subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can pick up merch from us at got5.tmail.com, which is these little bad boys here, and there's lots of stuff we ship worldwide, blah blah blah. But that's got5.tmail.com. It allows us to eat and have dinner, which is always a plus. We'll be back next week with another episode, our 93rd episode, and that leaves us 7 episodes left until Got Till 5 gets cancelled. So we hope you join us for that as well. Send us more of your Pokemon stories throughout the week. We love kind of hearing post what we've spoken about. So thank you again for tuning in. Jesse, if people want resources, Twitter pages, merch website, past episodes, where do they go, my friend?
Well, it's like the T-mail website that you're on about, but it's a bit shorter. It's gottill5.com.
Yeah, chop out that middle bit. It's gottill5.com. Nice and easy. We hope you... Yeah, exactly. We hope you have a lovely... Yeah, man. We hope you have a lovely week, everyone. Go and play some Pokemon. Relive your days if you're not played any in a while. Pick up an emulator or pick up your old Game Boys and just live through the glory days. Thank you for watching. My name is Max. His name is Jesse. We love you dearly. Goodbye. Good night.
Gotta catch 'em all.
Pokemon.